Loving her was easier than anything I'll ever do again.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a special edition of the Clarion Call. Boy, 2024 was a crazy year, wasn't it? So much was going on, and we lost so many great artists last year. I was able to do videos remembering Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead and the great country singer Toby Keith. And I very much wanted to do one when Kris Kristofferson died on September 28th. But there was so much going on 6 weeks before the election, assassination attempts, debates, just a crazy time in our country's history. But now that things have settled down a little bit and we're in the dog days of winter, I want to take a little time to remember Kris, who, one of the greatest songwriters of his generation. So many of his songs became hits for other artists, and in very many different genres. I mean, he had country music hits, rock and roll hits, soul music hits, and then, of course, later on joined the Highwaymen, one of the four superstars in that group. Kris, of course, did perform his own music and sang. On Your Screen is his third album, but the first album that I ever owned, called Border Lord. It came out in 1972. And so that's how far I go back with Kris, over 50 years now. He was just starting to break through. Now, he has a very interesting background, and I'm going to take a few minutes to explain how he got to be one of the greatest writers around. His father was a major general in the United States Air Force. Major general is about as high as you can go. That's a 2-star general. And his father very much, came from a military family. I think his father had been a soldier in the Swedish army. In any case, he wanted Kris to follow in his footsteps. And Kris did, in fact, serve in the United States Army for about 5 years. He was trained as a helicopter pilot, and he was stationed in Germany, but he kept messing around with music. He was offered a position to go and teach at West Point, and he turned it down, left the Army, and moved to Nashville. His father, I don't think, ever spoke to him again. His father was very disappointed that he didn't follow the family tradition. But Kris had other things in mind. He used his helicopter training to work for an offshore oil company, delivering supplies back and forth to the oil platforms in the Gulf of America. When he was home, he would hang around the Nashville recording studios and try to get people to listen to his songs that he was writing. And at one point, he even got so desperate that he landed one of his helicopters in Johnny Cash's backyard. There's a lot of made-up stories about that incident, but that much is true. Whether at that time he gave him the music for Johnny's big breakthrough hit, Sunday Morning Coming Down, or whether that was handed over in a different manner, it doesn't really matter. It makes it an awful good story. In any case, Johnny did record that song. It became a monster hit, Country Music Song of the Year in 1970. And Kris said at the time, after that, he never had to work again. Of course, he did continue to write songs, but he was pretty well fixed financially. Then Kris never really thought that he had that great of a voice. And in fact, when he was first signed to a record contract, he was quoted as saying that, "I don't know why you're doing this. I can't sing. I sound like a frog croaking." So he was modest about his singing voice. He doesn't have a bad voice. But he also then went on and had a very successful career in motion pictures as a Hollywood star. And he was in some great movies. So he's probably best known, as a Hollywood star and then a songwriter and then a performer is kind of somewhere down the list. But anyway, I want to do excerpts from 4 different songs that he wrote, which are absolute classics. And I'm going to start off with the Johnny Cash song, Sunday Morning Coming Down. Okay, so for Johnny Cash here, I've chosen a lyric video, because I think the words to this song are just so beautiful, so well done, and I don't want you to miss a single word.
Well, I woke up Sunday morning with no way to hold my head that didn't hurt, and the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had one more for dessert. Then I fumbled in my closet through my clothes and found my cleanest dirty shirt. Then I washed my face and combed my hair and stumbled down the stairs to meet the day. I'd smoked my mind the night before with cigarettes and songs I'd been picking. But I lit my first and watched a small kid playing with a can that he was kicking. Then I walked across the street and caught the Sunday smell of someone's frying chicken. And Lord, it took me back to something that I lost somewhere, somehow along the way.
Before we go into the chorus, can't you just smell that chicken frying? Can't you just feel that feeling of picking out your cleanest dirty shirt? So well expressed.
On a Sunday morning sidewalk, I'm wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. 'Cause there's something in a Sunday that makes a body feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying that's half as lonesome as the sound of the sleeping city sidewalk and Sunday morning coming down.
Wow, what a beautiful song, and of course Johnny had a big hit with that. Just brings you back to that feeling of you're alone and you're thinking back about some of the things that maybe didn't work out or better times, and that Sunday morning is just coming down on you. Next, I want to play a more upbeat song, still a song about lost love, but with a much more high energy presentation. And this, of course, is the famous Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin was one of the superstars of the psychedelic movement. She sang with Big Brother and the Holding Company in San Francisco in the late 60s. Died quite young. She did know Kris, and I guess they had a short affair together. Of course, who didn't have an affair with Janis back in the day? She recorded this song only a couple days before she died, and Kris didn't even know that she'd recorded it. But of course, it's become the most definitive version of this song, Me and Bobby McGee. And of course, only Janis can do it with that voice of hers and with that energy of hers. So we'll play a little bit of that.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, and I was feeling near as faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed a diesel down just before it rained and rode us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana. I was playing soft while Bobby sang the blues. Windshield wipers slapping time, I was holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that Javi knew.
I guess she says she pulled her harpoon out of her pocket, but obviously it wasn't a whaling harpoon. Harp is a colloquial expression for a harmonica. I've never heard it called a harpoon anywhere else. But anyway, I think you get the picture. She and Bobby are out hitchhiking. They got a ride from a trucker. They ran all the way as far as they could and sang every song the driver knew. And Bobby is holding her hand. So she's looking back at this wonderful memory of her relationship with Bobby McGee, which of course didn't going to end that well, but was good while it lasted.
Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that Javi knew. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing nothing, honey, if it ain't free. No, no. Yeah, feeling good was easy, Lord, when he sang the blues. You know, feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. From the Kentucky coal mines to the California sun, hey, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul. Through all kinds of weather, through everything that we've done, your Bobby, baby, kept me from the whole world. One day up near Salinas, Long, I let him slip away. He's looking for that home, and I hope he finds it. But I trade all of my tomorrows for one single yesterday, to be holding Bobby's body next to mine. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, that's all that Bobby left me. But if feeling good was easy, Lord, when he sang the blues, hey, feeling good was good enough for me. Mm-hmm. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee.
So you can see how she starts that song off kind of softly, and then as she goes along, she builds the excitement and the tension. Her voice gets louder and louder, the tempo gets more upbeat. And I'm not going to play it all over the end, but by the end, she's belting it out. But what beautiful writing, and that one line is such a killer, you know, I trade all my tomorrows for one single yesterday. Maybe not a unique concept, but so well expressed. Janis owns that song. No one else probably even attempted after her. Now, moving over into the soul area. So this is another of Kris's famous compositions, a song called For the Good Times, which he actually recorded for his very first album in 1970. And then a few years after that, Al Green did this soul version of it, which probably, again, is the definitive version. This was a live performance on the television show Soul Train, again, about a relationship that doesn't quite work out. You know, Kris had married his girlfriend in 1960 before he went in the Army. And they did stay together for about 10 years, but after he left the Army and moved to Nashville, they broke up. So he had some experience with heartbreak, I guess, so he knew what he was writing about.
Do this for me. Don't look so sad. I know it's over. Lord of mercy. But life goes on, and this world keeps on turning. As I said, Lord of mercy. Let's just be glad we had this time to spend together. As I said, Lord have mercy. There is no need to watch the bridges that we're burning. Hey, lay your head upon my pillow. Sometime when it's cold outside, you might just wanna hold your warm and tender body close to my heart. As I said, Lord have mercy. Won't you hear the whisper? The whisper of the raindrops that it's blowing softly against my window. Yeah, Yeah, all you gotta do is make believe you love me. All I ask is just one more time. Hey, for the good time. For the good time. And I just like to.
I can't watch much more. I'll probably start crying. What a beautiful, touching song. You know, two people that come to the end of the road, and he's saying, "Hey, baby, one more time, just for the good times. Let's lay your warm and tender body against mine. Let's have one more night together, because we know, we're going to go our separate ways." What a song. Obviously, Kris doesn't have those kind of singing chops that Al Green has. But as I said, in 1985, he joined the Highwaymen. And you can see there's Willie Nelson getting warmed up. The Highwaymen were a super group of country stars: Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, and they let Kris Kristofferson into the group for some reason. I think out of respect for his songwriting more so than his performing. But he will sing a little bit of this song in here. But, a group with three of the greatest voices in country music, it's pretty hard to measure up. But he's not a terrible singer. He's just not like one of the super singers. The song is the final one I'm going to do today, another one of Kris's compositions. Loving her was easier than anything I'll ever do again. The Highwaymen.
Songs that help me out on it, will you? I have seen the morning burning gold out on the mountain in the sky. Aching with the feeling and the freedom of an eagle when she flies. Turning all my world away, she smiled upon my soul as I lay down, healing as the colors in the sunshine and the shadows of her eyes.
Waking in the morning to the feeling of her fingers on my skin. Wiping out the traces of the people and the places that I've been. Teaching me that yesterday was something that I never thought of trying. Talking of tomorrow and the money, love, and time we had to spend. Loving her was easier than anything I'll ever do again.
So that was Kris singing a verse and starting the chorus here. And then the rest of the boys are going to join in.
I was close together with a feeling that I've never known before in my time. You're not ashamed to be a woman. She's not afraid to be a friend. I don't know the answer to the easy way. She's opened every door in my mind. And dreaming is as easy as believing that it's never gonna end. Loving her was easier than anything I'll ever do again.
I'm going to leave it there while the band rocks out. I think Kris was just thrilled to be on the stage with those guys. You can see he's got a smile a mile wide. They're really appreciating the beauty of his song. And when I produce this, I'm going to put the lyrics of this up because it's one of the most beautiful of his songs, just lyric gold. I'm glad I finally got a chance to acknowledge, Kris's great talent and his great songs, which will live forever in all these various genres. There's very few songwriters that you can say that about, that their work was so great that it was, admired and covered in so many different ways. A very, very brilliant man. Hope you enjoyed it.